You have Rose Namajunas versus Carla Esparza. Now, of course, coming into the narrative of this, we know firstly, I think this is criminally undersold, this fight, when we actually look at it on paper. I think maybe the fact that obviously Carla Esparza is less of a draw, and the fact that we have some crazy other fights on this card maybe potentially overshadows this. But we had Carla Esparza beat Rose Namajunas for the title back in the finale of Tough for the strawweight women title, the first ever. But the way I see this is Thug Rose really was a child back then. I think she was 19, 20, 21 years of age, something like that. And she spoke about it before. She was not ready to win the title. And I think she's very right. Now, we have to start off and preface this fight by saying Rose has never lost a rematch. She has never lost a second fight to any fighter. She's avenged losses. She's beat people multiple times like Joanna. She's beat people like Wei Lee, who'd argue those two fighters are definitely at the top of the tree at the moment in regards to the strawweight women's title. So she has that coming into it. She has that mindset of that first loss that she needs to avenge. Now, if we look at how this may play out, we know how Carla Esparza won the first fight with that grappling. We've seen her on incredible tear recently. She's on a very impressive win streak and winning very impressively. She's scratched, clawed her way back to the title, and she deserves to be there. And you could look around that division and argue she's definitely the one that deserves this shot more than most. So her way of winning this are not too dissimilar to the first. Now, yes, of course, her IQ, her cage ringmanship, her knowledge, her understanding of closing rounds out is so much better now. I think something she does a lot better, which I heard recently, which is so true, is she closes rounds out. Instead, before, she would jump straight to her strength, which is her grappling. But sometimes it's about game management. It's about maybe trading or staying out of danger for the first couple of minutes in the round, and then at the end looking to secure the takedown, doing some damage and nicking and banking rounds, which is very important, especially against someone like Rose. Do I think she can beat Rose in a all-out kickboxing match? Of course not. But do I think that she could maybe keep it somewhat competitive and then use some ground control for 2 minutes for 3 of the rounds? I do think she can do that. So that is a possibility. That maybe plays out 2-3 times out of 10, I think, against Rose. Because the thing that she does so well is moves laterally. Now, when we have a look at someone like Carla Esparza, we know she's going to want to set her shots up. She can't just shoot from range against someone like Rose. She'll get picked apart. So she has to trade on the feet. Now, the dangerous thing with that is anyone against Rose, realistically, is probably going to have somewhat of a striking deficit because of the way she moves, her timing, her shot selection. It's so impressive. Carla, I think, is going to struggle to A, set any shots up against Rose, and B, catch her, because she's constantly cutting corners. She's constantly making different angles and moving laterally. Her footwork's amazing. We've seen that under Trevor Whitman. We've seen that improvement across Justin Gaethje, Kamaru Usman, and especially Rose. So that makes her a very tricky opponent to pin down. Now, I have a look at this fight and I think, can Rose stop her? I think she can. I think her mindset, her skill set is becoming something now where she's so confident in her abilities and so confident wherever that fight goes now. She's happy to do things she maybe never was before. We have a look at that high kick against Wei Lee so early on now, and such with pinpoint accuracy. And I think Trevor Whitman has really installed, and her team, along with her own fighting ability, has really installed that confidence. And there's so much to be said with that confidence. We just spoke about Charlie Olives and his 10-0 run. This is the same with Thug Rose. Now, I don't think she'll be complacent, less so than ever, because she knows that this woman has already taken away so much from her. Now, I think she'll know it was a good thing that she probably didn't win it then, and it's been a huge learning experience ever since. But she wants to get that back, and like I said, 100% in rematches, and she won't want that to go anywhere. And one point that I do want to bring up, which I know is going to sound stupid and crazy, but one thing I can't look past is Carla Esparza is getting married after this fight. She's got her hen do next week, or she just had her hen do, and she's got the honeymoon next week, sorry. Now, I'm not saying that she hasn't been going to training sessions because she's planning what sponge cake she wants for her 4-tier wedding cake. No. But I am telling you that I've not done a lot of wedding planning. From what I know, from what I've seen, wedding planning, along with holiday planning, along with Hindu planning, along with just mentally having that to balance at the same time as the biggest fight of your life, you cannot sit there and tell me that will not impact your training fight camp. You cannot sit there and tell me that. You cannot tell me that your mind is 100% focused on this fight every single day where it needs to be. The focus and zoning in that it requires, or I hear is required from champions to win a belt, and to especially win it again a second time off of someone that you've already beat, it paints a narrative, doesn't it? It does paint a narrative. Now, like I said, I'm not going to say that Carla Esparza is going to be taking Thug Rose easily, because this is going to be the hardest fight, I personally believe, of her life. But would I be crazy in assuming that her mind has been wandering elsewhere? You tell me. You tell me. But I'm going to go with Thug Rose in this. I think the safe bet is going to be Thug Rose on points, but I think she can stop her. I think we're really going to see the next level of Rose, and I think someone that can't compete with her on the feet at all, which I don't think Carla Esparza can do. I think she's going to get pieced about, and I think the movement's going to be the number one contributing factor to that. So I'm going to go third round stoppage for Thug Rose.